And I think we are live on Facebook.
Hi, everybody.
Hey there. Welcome again to Soul Patrol. We have a very exciting thing happening tonight. I know I have to come up with some new words besides exciting. I'm really so excited. I don't know, maybe that's like some personal condition I need to address. But anyway, I am really excited tonight because we have a very special guest with us tonight, and there are some very important things going on in the cosmos, I believe, and she is going to tell us what's going on in this world out there. Anywho, how you doing, Sal?
I'm doing great. And you?
I'm doing good. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
Anyway, I don't want to keep our guests waiting. We have with us tonight astrologer Kathy Beal, and full disclosure, uh, Kathy and I are both Aquarians,
Watch
and
out, world.
B, we are lawyers. That is how we met, actually. We met in the lawyer world, and so we've known each other for a number of years. And I have to say, I've just really enjoyed knowing Kathy and just really digging on her wisdom about astrology and everything. Um, so here we are. So anything going on, especially in the astrological world?
It's the solstice. Notice all of the lights behind me. Today is the longest night of the year in the Northern Hemisphere, the longest day of the year in the Southern Hemisphere. And it's the day that the sun is at its southernmost point away from the equator. It's one of the times when time seems to stand still. The word actually comes from the Latin for sun still. Ooh, isn't that cool? Yeah, and it's one of the turns of the wheel, one of the four turns of the wheel that define the astrological year, the pagan year. The sun moves into the sign of Capricorn. And this time, there's a lot to celebrate. Now, people, historically, people have this as a candle or a light celebration where you bring the light inside because there is no light outside in the Northern Hemisphere, at least. Hence all of my candles there. And I think the Yule log tradition maybe has a little to do with this as well. The notion that you're rekindling something inside of you and then it's going to grow, and then gradually the sun is going to be more and more a factor in our lives until we get to the summer solstice in the Northern Hemisphere. I now have a lot of people reading my work who live in the Southern Hemisphere, so I'm trying not to be hemisphere centric,
right.
U.S. centric in my information, and it's tricky. Anyway, the solstice, whatever's going on the solstice, sets the tone like a background program for the 3 months following it, for the season following it. But this time it seems to be much bigger than that, much bigger than that. So probably people have been hearing something about a Jupiter-Saturn conjunction, about a great conjunction, and there's all kinds of information about this flying around online of varying degrees of usefulness or accuracy. But one way to look at it is it's at the very first degree of Aquarius, which is the sign after Capricorn. We have had a lot of activity drawing our attention to things Capricorn this year, actually for a number of years, but this year in particular. Capricorn rules institutions the way things always have been. The patriarchy, it rules structures, government, foundations, infrastructure, and all of that has been pretty severely ripped up for everyone. And at this moment, we are moving from breaking everything down to building something new and different. Aquarius is very different energy from Capricorn. Aquarius is intellectual. It's not earthbound. It isn't looking at the bottom line. It isn't plotting what's this going to cost? How much do I have to put in this? Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, which I call the planet of adulting. So, someone who's really heavily Capricorn actually gets off on wearing suits. And I have one Capricorn friend who does, like he used to, really wear suits, and he would play school as a kid when he was, because he was, so that's that kind of, I'm going to be really
Capricorn thing. Yeah.
The very cute Capricorn thing. Yeah. Well, no, Capricorn, we need Capricorn energy, but Aquarius is detached and intellectual and progressive and kind of off on its own spot on the time frame, time-space continuum. And it's really geared to networks, to community, to friends, to the greater good. So we're moving from paying attention to our foundations and institutions to paying attention to how we're all going to work in a collective, in a community. And whatever is happening today with Jupiter and Saturn is putting form to whatever this new structure is going to be. And what's interesting is, okay, Saturn is the traditional ruler of the sign of Aquarius. Before the planet Uranus was discovered, Saturn ruled both Capricorn and Aquarius. And you might say, how can this be?
We're not complete here.
Aquarians are goofy people. They're wacky people. Well, there's a very strong, I know what's right streak in Aquarians. And there can be a real Saturnine, serious, fixed, I'm going to go do what I'm going to do streak in them. But so Saturn rules structure, and Jupiter, the planet that's merging with it, is big. I call him the guy who ups the ante of any action that he gets involved with. So a lot of people are looking at this merging of energies as magically transporting us into this wonderful world where everything will be so perfect.
Age of Aquarius? No.
No, actually, no, this has nothing whatsoever to do with the age. Just if you run into someone talking about that, you can sing the Fifth Dimension song, you can sing the song from Hair, whatever cover of it you like. I'm in one that you might like. Anyway, no, and it just means a whole lot more of whatever it is. All right. So Aquarius deals with networks, and what happened, Jupiter moves into Aquarius. That happened on the 19th. Saturn moved into Aquarius on the 17th, and the news of the largest hack of government computer systems that we know of comes to light. Jupiter makes everything bigger. So there's this massive expansive. So there are all kinds of ways it can fit. It can also have something to do with the increased emphasis on lockdowns. London, as soon as these two guys start meeting, London goes on total lockdown. It really, really cartoonishly large constriction. Saturn first went into Aquarius earlier this year for a little coming attractions trailer in March, and that coincided with shutdowns, lockdowns, social distancing. So now we have the probability of extreme social distancing as we figure out how we're going to work with all this.
Right. Wow. So that's Jupiter and Saturn.
And that's today, and that colors, that's the underground, that's the background program actually to the end of next year, because we're going to have some tweaking activity that's going to involve both of these planets in the sign of Taurus. We have a Taurus among us, so that's also archetypally really appropriate. And that happens throughout all of next year. So that's part of why People are walking around acting like suddenly we're in everything is going to be fine and dandy. Well, when in life is it ever? Okay, let's be honest. When in life is it ever fine and dandy? There are some periods that are easier and better than others. And yes, we're going to be in a different mode, and this probably won't be as hard. And there will be the sense of getting somewhere and moving toward the future. This is a real bridge toward the future energy, but they're going to be plot twists. There are going to be monkey wrenches. Do not fool yourself. And the monkey wrenches are built into the next inauguration chart, which is good for 4 years. So the next administration in the United States is going to be actively dealing with how we're going to implement these new structures.
Okay. So on a personal level, I mean, obviously it depends on your individual chart, how these
Mhm.
greater planetary influences affect you.
Mhm.
But I don't know, me personally, I've been feeling like lots of ideas and just growth and change and, things happening.
Expansiveness.
Was that
Expansiveness.
expansiveness? That's the Jupiter, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
So I guess other people might be feeling that too, perhaps. But
Oh,
again,
yeah, I would say if you have a fixed, if you have something major in a fixed sign, which would be Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, especially, you will really be feeling this. If you have, and when it hits something in your chart, it will be personal to you as well. But you may not feel it. I have this exactly hitting something in my chart, and
hmm,
I've had clients with massive technological confusion all day, much of which I, for a change, did not cause, but I've had to deal with it. And who knows what it means personally. I know another Aquarian who found out that he may actually have some money stuck in a union that he hasn't done anything with for a long time, which is a really kind of nice, you earned it and now it's coming back around and you get it kind of thing.
so is that a theme? Some things coming around, perhaps, that
Mhm. Could be.
a theme of this whole.
Could well
Mhm.
be. And then again, for some people, it's not going to hit anything directly in their chart. They're just going to notice the atmosphere of the world being different. And really, we've been in a incredibly protracted, years long state of just finding all the givens in our life crumbling under our feet. Like, I thought that was always going to be there. No, okay. And we've had the opportunity to get really focused on a few priorities and let go of a whole bunch of stuff that used to be really important. Oh, I don't know, going out to eat a lot. That's one for many people.
Sure.
And now we're moving into a different way of being. And there's a lot of it that we don't know yet how it's going to go. But it's not going to be the constant. Oh, okay. The 24/7 news cycle is going to stay with us for a while. And the sense of wondering where your brain went, which many of us have been experiencing, that's going to be with you for a while. But it's not going to be, okay, what blew up now, which is really
Mm,
what a lot of
yeah,
recent life has been like.
that's a good way of describing it. Yeah,
Like,
that's
what
right.
now? Okay. I have a little breaking news meme that says, what the just happened. You just, I was using it a lot. That's going to be a thing of the
Yeah, I
past.
mean, I will say that it does feel like something has lifted and has gotten lighter.
Mhm.
You know, political realities aside, but just in terms of the energy I feel or experience daily, I feel more hopeful. I don't know,
Yes.
maybe.
Well, optimism for the future would be one hallmark of this. Jupiter is a planet that deals with feeling hopeful, feeling optimistic, feeling indulgent. I mean, and you can sometimes be completely unrealistic if you have a really good, really strong contact with Jupiter. Well, sometimes
Yeah.
that's what you need. Isn't there the movie Life is Beautiful, where the father in a concentration camp creates just an incredible fantasy world for his kid, and on a day-to-day basis, as long as they're alive, everything is beautiful. Well, there's
Right.
a bit of that in this.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at the comments, and I think, just check in with people if you maybe have questions. Obviously, we're not going to do specific, we're not going to do readings here. We're not going to
No,
be
we're
able
not.
to get into
Happy,
specific.
may I ask a question?
Please do.
What is a fixed?
What? Sorry, I was being a jerk.
What is a fixed sign?
Yeah.
All right. There are 3 types of qualities of signs. You've probably heard about the elements, the earth. There are
Yes.
signs that are in earth, there are signs that are in water, there are signs that are in fire, signs that are in air. Well, there's another way of dividing up the zodiac, and that has to do with qualities. There are signs that are cardinal, and they start things, and the signs that are cardinal signs are the ones that define the solstices and the equinoxes. So Aries, Cancer, Libra, and where we are now, Capricorn. Then there are fixed signs, and those are signs that the energy in them kind of like stays there. Taurus is one, Leo is one, Scorpio, Aquarius. Those are the fixed signs. And then there are mutable signs, which are flexible and go this way and that. Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces are the mutable signs.
That's so interesting. And when you said you might wonder where your mind went in a time like this, what do you mean? Like forgetfulness or?
Well, have you heard the concept of COVID brain? Have you heard people talking
No.
about? You have not. Oh,
No.
Lisa has. Okay. There are some people who have had difficulty keeping track what day it is, who, because our routines are so vastly different and we're not doing what we used to do. I know people who more than usual are having difficulty remembering what they agreed to, mislaying things, just being kind of confused on a daily basis.
Oh.
Okay. Now there is an influence involving Neptune that is part of that, and it's been really strong. Neptune is the planet I call the cosmic fog machine. And it's in a mutable sign right now. It's in its own sign of Pisces. So Neptune, this is an issue that's going to be with us for a while. So it's not that people are feeling their age. I know some people are like, oh my God, I've lost my brain. Well, maybe not. There is an astrological explanation for a sociological and maybe psychological reaction that people are having because we've been living under such unusual conditions without the usual touchstones of our existence with us. And everything's like, what's normal about anything, like it's just hard to keep stuff in place because the rote ways we had for doing things aren't working. So some people have been kind of foggy with the way that their brains have been working.
It's so funny that you've said losing things, because lately I've just been losing things. And so that makes perfect sense. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I've definitely experienced the fog. I can attest to that. But yeah, just checking the feed for questions, but lots of folks here, which is great to see that.
Other questions? I'm trying to
Yeah.
even see where it is.
How does this affect Sagittarius?
Even see where it is. Oops, hold on. You get this. Gotta make this small. Well, Sagittarius is a mutable sign. It's one of the bend me, shape me. I'm going to do this way and this way and this way. And we have, so there's so much I could go into here. There are other influences that have been causing Sagittarius to think about things, to think about things differently and to revisit their identity and who they are. So if you know, oh, come on. I'm sorry. I was trying to see the live feed and it wasn't letting me without broadcasting it. I just want to see the chat window. Oh, well.
You know, well, we got lots of folks here. It's really great. And some wonderful comments about people sharing their different experiences and things. You know, I don't want to let you get away, Kathy, without saying how, or letting people know how they can get in touch with you and how. So we want to talk about what kinds of services you do provide, I think, and how people can. I know you have a newsletter and you are on social media, and there are many ways to experience Kathy Beal. So if you maybe could, and I'll put the website
now,
in the chat.
My website is empowermentunlimited.net. I have a spoken podcast that tends to be about 7 minutes long for each week. It's also up on YouTube as well. My YouTube channel is Professional Aquarian. I have a forecast for every new moon and every full moon, also at YouTube as well as my site. I have a forecast for every month on my site and also at YouTube. I have a Patreon with lots of bonus content. People on Patreon tend to know a little bit more about astrology. So that's where I chat about stuff in greater detail. My Facebook page is called Empowerment Unlimited. If you do know a bit about astrology, I have a group you have to get admitted into called the Astro Insight Lounge. And we talk a lot there about astrology in the news, like looking at what's going on now and particular news stories that actually act out the energies or the aspects. So what I do, I mean, mostly these days when people come to me for readings, they want to understand what is going on in the world and how it is affecting them. Like, what are their opportunities? What are they dealing with? And I look at charts a lot in terms of cycles and recurrences and what you have been through before and how you can tie a particular stretch of time to other points in your life, and you can draw connections, you can connect dots, you can see what you're doing. People will, I mean, you could certainly have a session to understand your own wiring from your birth chart, but at this point in our lives, most people just want to know, where am I now and what's happening and what can I do with it? You can pick optimal dates to engage in a certain type of action. I help people figure out when to open a business or to actually have a wedding ceremony, that sort of thing. I also really frequently talk to people about relationships, and that usually turns into an ongoing lecture about the differences in how you and somebody else are wired. And when you understand what someone's internal drivers are, you can see how maybe the way you go about things isn't the way they're going about it. And maybe they're not intentionally trying to be difficult, but maybe they just navigate the world in a different way than you do. That can be very useful for people as well.
Kathy, we have a question. What will be the energy of Saturn and Uranus clashing next year?
Saturn rules structure, Uranus blows it up. And I mentioned that Jupiter and Saturn are putting a construct in place, and then there are going to be plot twists and monkey wrenches. And those come when Saturn and Uranus have clashes. Now, it doesn't mean that whatever is started to be set in place now gets blown up. It could be that we look at things differently, because hard aspects to Uranus can bring epiphanies. They can bring strokes of brilliance. They can do all, all kinds of things. So there is more to be revealed, I guess is a good way to put, for whatever is going on with Jupiter and Saturn. And some of it could be bumpy for some people, and it might not be bumpy for others.
Right. So, I mean, I can recommend your readings. I know I am due for a checkup with you. Definitely. Definitely have to book another reading with you, Kathy. And I'd highly recommend doing that. And we were chatting earlier before we went live that when we do have our center in Lambertville, that Kathy is really looking forward to coming down there and doing events, classes, whatever. So we are very excited about that. I know, I'm still excited. I'm excited about a lot of things.
What's wrong? It's good to be excited.
My electric condition at being an Aquarian, I think. But
anyway, my law school class unofficially voted me most likely to spontaneously combust. So I get it.
So there's that.
So but Kathy,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I wanted to ask you. So if somebody wanted you to do a chart for them, what would that entail? Are there specific charts, or could you go in and just explain briefly about the different charts that you can do?
Well, I would start with the person's birth chart, because that's your blueprint, that's your wiring. And then I usually will apply what's going on now to that chart. Those are called transits, where the planets are right now. And I will project that out for a period of time, just seeing how much activity. Sometimes there's like a lot going on within a 6-month period, and that's what's really important to look at. There are other types of other ways that you can bring current time information into a chart that's a bit technical to get into right here, but you start with the birth chart, and for that you need to know birth date and place, time as close as you know it, and if you don't know the time, there are things that can be done. I can get a lot of information even without that, because it's what sets what goes on, where things fall in the chart. The birth time does that. And I'll also explain my basic approach. I chose the name Empowerment Unlimited for a bunch of reasons. One of them was I wanted to have a name of a site that someone could have up at on their computer at work and not get busted or in trouble.
Very devious of you.
But well, at any rate, but also I'm not fatalistic, and my tagline is astrology you can use, and I don't just say this is who you are and this is what you have to do with it and here's what is happening. I talk about trends and spectrums of possibilities to help people realize, okay, this is the way I've always lived something out, but I have other choices I could make about this. So
great, thank you.
Yeah. Well, this has been really awesome. And I feel very fortunate. I know somebody posted that Kathy Beal in person, woohoo, lucky. Absolutely, I agree with that 100%. And someone also said astrology is gaining so much popularity and acceptance. Is that more to do with Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius?
No, it's the internet. It's TikTok. The internet. It's a generation of millennials who have made it the trendy thing to do. Like, okay, fine.
It's like everybody finding your favorite restaurant, right? Or your favorite back road. The internet. Anyway, Yes. So this has been so much fun. The time has
Yes, it has.
flown by, and yeah, I certainly hope people check out your YouTube and your website and everything, and book reading and all that. And well, stay tuned, and we look forward to having you on again. If you will,
Oh yeah, I'll come
great.
back. I love to talk. Notice?
Thank you so much, Kathy.
So do we.
It's great.
And so I think, and so as far as next week, we have Vita King Blanchard, who does Reiki and massage, and she is our sister up the river in Easton. I've just coined that myself. Could you tell? She'll be on next week. She's our guest on Monday the 28th, same time, same Soul Patrol channel. And